Hello, good day everyone. Our lesson for today is about factoring polynomial in a form of sum and difference of two cubes. So let us first review perfect cubes. Ano nga ba yung mga perfect cube? Example is 1. Bakit ang 1 ay perfect cube? Kasi pag tinimes mo yung 1 ng tatlong beses, the answer is equal to 1. 1 times 1 times 1 is equal to 1. So, we can say that the cube root of 1 is equal to 1. Our next example is 8. Bakit? Kasi pag tinimes mo yung 2 ng tatlong beses sa sarili niya, 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. Kaya nga, the cube root of 8 is equal to 2. Okay, another example is 27. So, ano yung number na pag tinimes mo ng tatlong beses sa sarili niya, the answer is 27. And that is 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. So, the cube root of 27 is equal to 3. Another example is 64. Why? Because 4 times 4 times 4 is equal to 64. So, the cube root of 64 is equal to 4. Another example is 125. Why? Because 5 times 5 times 5 is equal to 125. So, the cube root of 125 is equal to 5. Another example is z cubed in terms of variable. So, in terms of variable, ang variable ay perfect cube kung ang kanyang exponent ay divisible by 3. Halimbawa, ang exponent niya ay 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 21, 18. Those are divisible by 3. So, silang lahat na nag-raise sa divisible by 3 ay perfect cube. So, z cube is a perfect cube kasi pag tinimes mo yung z ng tatlong beses sa sarili niya, z times z times z is equal to z cube. So, the cube root of z cube is equal to z. Another one is s cube. So, s times s times s is equal to x cube. So, thus, the cube root of s cube is equal to s. Okay, another s to the ninth. Remember, yung kanyang exponent ay 9. It's divisible by 3. So, s cubed times s cubed times s cubed is equal to s to the ninth power. Recall the laws of exponent. If you have the same base, parehong s, just simply add the exponent. Thus, the cube root of s to the ninth power is equal to s cubed. Okay, now, let us now proceed to our lesson. Paano ba tayo nagpo-factor ng sum and difference of two cubes? Alamin muna natin kung perfect cube yung given. In our example, meron tayong z cube plus 8. The first term is z cube. Ang second term ay 8. Z cube is a perfect cube. 8 is a perfect cube also. So we can say that that example is a sum of two cubes. So sa sum in two cubes, paano natin siya i-factor? First, get the cube root of the first term. Ano ba yung first term natin? That is z cube. And the cube root of z cube is z. So let us write z. Now, copy the operation kung ano yung nasa original given. Then, step number 2 is get the cube root of the second term. Ang second term natin ay 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. So, we will now write 2. Okay, that's it. And enclosed in parentheses. That is the first factor. The second factor is, we will base that on the first factor. Saan manggagaling yung next term? That is square root of the cube root of the first term. Square of the cube root of the first term. Ang cube root ng first term natin ay z. So, ang square niya is z squared. So, let us write z squared. Now, the operation this time is opposite from the first factor. Kung ang ating first factor ay plus, the opposite is minus. So, we will write subtraction. Now, let's proceed to the second term. The fourth step is get the product of the cube roots of the first and the second term. Ang cube root ng first term natin ay z, ang cube root ng second term ay 2, so the product is 2 times z. So we will write 2z. Now let's proceed to the last term, and the fifth step is square the cube root of the second term. Our second term is 8. The cube root of that is 2. So the square of 2 is 4. So let's now write positive 4. So that is now the factored form of z cubed plus 8. Okay, so let's have another example. X cubed minus y cubed. Ang una natin gagawin, get the cube root of the first term, and that is the cube root of x cubed, which is x. So let's write x, kopyahin ang operation, minus, and then get the cube root of the second term. Our second term is y cubed. So the cube root of y cubed is y. So let's write y. Then, enclose in parentheses. Let's now proceed to the second factor. Paano natin kinukuha ang second factor? We will base that on the first factor. Since the first factor is already the cube root of the first term and the cube root of the second term, ang gagawin na lang natin is square natin yung first term on the first factor. So the first term is x, and the square of that x is x squared. Then, get the opposite operation. Ang operation sa first factor is minus, so the opposite of that is plus. So, let's write plus. Then, the product of the cube root of the first term and the second term. And we already have that in the first factor. The product of x and y. So, we have x times y, which is equal to xy. And the last term is always positive because that is from the square of the second term on the first factor. So, y times y, or negative y times negative y, is equal to y squared. So, that is now the factored form of x cubed minus y cubed. Let's now proceed to example number 2. We have 64a cubed plus 27b cubed. The first term is a perfect cube. The second term is also a perfect cube. So let's now get their cube root. The cube root of 64a cubed is 4a. Kopyahin ang operation, plus ang cube root ng 27b cubed ay 3b. So let's write 3b. Next, the second factor now is, kunin na lang natin yung square ng 4a. 4a times 4a is equal to 16a squared. Then, the opposite operation of the first factor. Ang first factor natin ay plus. So, we will have the opposite, which is minus. Okay, let's write minus. Then, get the product of 4a and 3b. 4a times 3b is equal to 12ab. 4a times 3b is equal to 12ab. So, that is our second term. Next is, get the square of the second term on the first factor, and that is 3b. So, 3b times 3b is equal to 9b squared. Okay, so that is the factored form of 64a cubed plus 27b cubed. Okay, so let's have another example. 8m cubed minus n cubed. So you will notice that they are all perfect cube. The cube root of 8m cubed is 2m. The cube root of n cubed is n. So, pagkatapos nating makuha yung first factor, madali na nating kunin ang second factor. Square mo lang yung 2m, and that is 4m squared. And then, ita-times mo lang yung 2m at saka n, that is 2mn. And then, square mo yung n, and that is n squared. Again, square the 2m, that is 4m squared, then times mo si 2m times n, that is 2mn, and then the last term, square mo lang si n, and that is n squared. Okay, another is 27r cubed plus 8 is equal to cube root of 27 r cubed rather is 3r. The cube root of 8 is 2. Kopyahin lang natin yung operation. The next factor, 3r, multiply it 2 times or square it. 3r times 3r is equal to 9r squared. So, you have 9r squared, then times mo lang si 3r times 2, that is 6r, and then the last term, square 2, and that is 4. Naging negative 6r siya because negative or minus is the opposite of plus. Okay, number 5 example. 125y cubed minus 8z cubed. This is difference of two cubes. So, the cube root of 125y cubed is equal to 5y. Then, the cube root of 8z cubed is 2z. So, you've got 5y minus 2z. The next factor now is, square mo lang si 5y. The square of 5y is 25y squared, and then times mo si 5y and 2z, that is 10yz, and then square mo lang yung last term, and that is 4z squared. Naging positive 10yz siya or plus 10yz because the operation on the first factor is subtraction. So the opposite of that is addition. Okay, so I hope you understand everything. Congratulations! Nice going! Great! Way to go! Yeah! Felicitations! Cheers! Take a bow! Best wishes to all of you. I know madali lang sa inyong intindihin ang lesson. If you have questions, you can PM Ma'am Pital Vero. Good day, everyone!